Hey besties, how are we doing today? Good? Great, that is fantastic. Today I'm here to do a quick little yap. We'll see how quick it is. But currently but this morning I finished watching episode 5 of season 2 of House of the Dragon. Spoilers, we will be talking about the entire show, okay? I've not read the books, I've heard book spoilers, but we will just be talking about the show. And something that I've noticed, particularly in season 2, is that they're really trying to frame Aegon, the king. Not so much anymore, but who was declared king, the kind of this tragic figure. And I find that really interesting, particularly because I think in season 1, they really tried to make this guy seem as awful as possible. And for me, it just felt a little bit jarring. Not bad, I'm not criticizing the writing, but it's really felt like, oh, we're supposed to hate this guy. And then now in season 2, we're supposed to be like, aw, poor little tyrant. And before we go into anything, I will personally I could never forgive him for his essay. That is unforgivable for me. To me, that is the worst crime of impossibility. And so we do not feel bad for our wordists, okay? However, in the sense of the narrative, I'm saying the show itself is trying to make us feel bad for it. So to discuss this, let's talk about some of his major character moments in this season. Starting off, let's start with last season. So yeah, he did that against poor Diana, who's keeps popping up. So we were supposed to remember this too. It's weird. They're like, hey, remember he did this with this one girl? Yeah. And then Alicent forced her to drink the Plan B tea. And then also in season 1, he just was like, just mean to Helena. I don't even remember that many important moments with him besides him just kind of being an asshole. When he was being crowned king, he just ran away from his responsibilities. And like, they literally had to get him, just kind of, oh yeah, he did like this. Yeah, I feel like they're trying to do like the toxic thing of, oh, he was just the boys will be boys kind of thing. But I want the show to be better than that, because Grape, that's not boys will be boys, that's monsters will be monsters. Very different. Some people may confuse the two, but it's very different. So I really hope that's not what the show is like, trying to justify his previous actions. But yeah, season 1, through some of the things, they're just trying to set him up as like this, we just don't like this guy. But starting season 2, they're like setting him to be this more like tragic figure in the narrative. And luckily, I don't think it's like a tragic hero, because I still don't necessarily think we're supposed to root for Aegon in terms of the narrative. I know the marketing does Team Black versus Team Green, but let's be honest, the show is rooting for Team Black. And I would argue most people are Team Black, Team Rhaenyra and such, right? We're not really supposed to root for Alicent and the rest of that crew, okay? At least I don't believe so. I mean, if you are Team Green, then that's you. That's you. Anywho's. But yeah, so let's talk about some of his major character moments. Once again, spoilers, right? So yeah, he ran away from his responsibility. This was season 1. But then, so we get into season 2. So many awful things happen. His kid gets awful. His mom just doesn't care about him. They obviously just have, like, everyone in Team Green, there's no, like, nice, familiar connection. Basically, Aegon just has his drinking buddies, right? And I don't even think that was, like, a good emotional connection. Yeah, I think he could have Elena, but he dropped the bag, because he's the worst, right? So yeah, his son's head got bopped. And we saw, like, earlier that episode, like, how proud of he was his son. I honestly think he cared about his kid in his own twisted little mind. Because earlier he made one of the members of court, like, piggyback him. And the only 2 times we've, like, genuinely seen him smile is when he was looking at his little boy. And then when he was looking at his dragon, right? I think, especially with how we're supposed to see his reaction to when he's finally got crowned and how he finally like to be king, I think he just honestly, like, this is just a need for validation and a need for love, because he obviously never got that from his support systems around him, right? Yeah. And so yeah, that happened. And then the big thing, the elephant in the room, is he got literally like cooked by his brother. He was like, oh, bro, you're finally here. He literally got cooked. They had to like tear the armor from his skin. It was gnarly, besties. It was gnarly. And then, like, in this episode, like, Allison was, like, kind of sitting by him and being like, aw, aw. And then she leaves, and then he goes, Mommy. Yeah, it's just complicated. And I think another reason that sticks in my head so much is because I was watching a bunch of interviews with the cast, and I don't remember his name. But the actor for Aegon, oh my god, I don't know why I forgot his name for a second, is being like, I don't think he's a villain. I don't think he's a villain. And he's allowed to have his opinion, especially when he's like playing the role. Like, I think everyone's supposed to have their own complex to his character, especially if that's how you're playing it. But he's a villain because of his previous actions. But I don't think in this narrative specifically we're supposed to see him as the big bad. I think at this moment, our biggest big bad is either Aemond, Eye Patch, Alicent, arguably. I don't think she's in power, but I think she's kind of just like the foil of the, you know what I mean? And I think we're just supposed to kind of see Aegon as sort of like a victim of his circumstance. And I think I would be so much more behind this if he didn't do that to Diana. And it's heavily hinted that he did it to many other people. Like, we saw them harassing other women just like around in season 1 as well. And so I don't know. I don't know what's happening in the writer's room. Part of me is like, maybe they were just trying to really set him up because they're like, wow, we really can't let this guy in power, to like give more boost to Rhaenyra. But then now when we're in season 2, they're trying to make him feel a lot more tragic. And honestly, I think they're doing a great job. And I also want to make it clear, I don't think it's a bad thing that obviously it's not a bad thing that the writing's trying to make him more complex. It's just that it's hard to be like, oh, poor little guy, when he did arguably one of the worst things you could do to a person. You know what I mean? And I think this show specifically, I've noticed, does a really good job of like making me feel bad for the royal characters and like being a part of the stuck-in. Like, specifically Rhaenyra was like, and this was season 1, like child Rhaenyra, being like, yeah, I don't have any freedom. And in previous medias with this conversation, I was always kind of like, wow, boo-hoo. But I don't know, like, I think the show honestly has a really great writing staff that you can clearly tell cares about the characters and their story. That's why I just kind of like this depiction and then like evolution of his character is really interesting to me. And I think it's just kind of probably trying to set up this moment of when he's getting cooked. Once again, I don't really know what happens to him post this point. I didn't read the book. I don't think I'm going to. Because I heard it's kind of like weird. And I think the show, like, I like the show, but I'm not like, you know. But what I can see happening is, honestly, I think it's fair to say Aemond is just like gonna be him for a while. And we kind of saw him wake up a little bit at the end of the next episode, this episode. So my prediction is that maybe I don't think anyone on the council has enough respect for him to like not keep Aemond up there. Because unlike Aegon, Aemond has done his dues. He's learned High Valyrian, embarrassed him in front of his whole court, actually did good in battle. He defeated Meleys. Rest in peace. Rest in peace, baby girl. And so Aegon just looks like a clown. Like, and everyone knows about his previous buffoonery. And then they got rid of Otto, and that was such a strong player, and he made Kristen Cole the hand of the king. A whole other conversation. It's just, I don't think Aegon has anyone currently in his corner, like truly in his corner. I think Alicent, his mom, like cares about him, but I don't think that she cares about him as much as she thinks she does, if that makes sense. She's like, oh, that's my son. But she's not like, oh, that's my Aegon. You know what I mean? Like, she cares about him in this motherly sense, but not in, like, she doesn't care about him deeply personally. And if you know, you know. It's kind of hard to explain, especially because you could probably tell this isn't super scripted. I just kind of wanted to get here and yap for a second. It's just, so yeah. I want to reinstate that. I don't think this is necessarily a bad thing that they're trying to make his characters more complex. I think it's great that they're trying to add complexity to his character. And I think that's what keeps this show so interesting, because they're able to add a lot of interesting layers to the characters, even the bad guys, right? However, it just feels like they're kind of being like, hey guys, I know he did some awful shit, but he was willing to give the small folk some sheep. Who's gonna pay Hughes? Look, he cares about his son. Aww. You know what I mean? Like, and I just think it's an interesting conversation to have. And I'm really interested to hear your guys' opinion on it as well. Like, is this, what's your thoughts on this? Because I haven't really heard a lot of people talk about, like, how weird of this juxtaposition was. Words. Besides the fact that they're like, oh yeah, I kind of feel bad for him right now. And I think, like, yeah, and how they're setting up his current story, like, it's hard not to be like, damn, that sucks. But also, like, screw you, dude. Like, one of the people that I feel like, the only people who are continuously bringing up his past actions is a YouTuber I like, who's made breakdowns of all of this season, Avatar Aiden. I'll put his thing down below. But it's like, yeah, dude, I can't feel bad for you because your previous actions. So, I don't know. I just feel lost. Like, I'm not really sure how to feel. And that's kind of how I feel for a bunch of the characters. But I don't think that's a bad thing. I think the show, by giving you this really complex and morally layered character, I think it really makes you reflect on your own morality standards and kind of what to you is forgivable. If you think what he did is forgivable, I never want to see your face again. However, the importance of art is that it makes you reflect on these things, right? And I think I'm really interested to see if they make all of give him, like, I guess right now is the consequences for his actions, like a dam. Because right, like, season 1, he was like, when he was in it, he was like, oh, this dude sucks. Oh, this dude sucks. Oh, is he gonna be king? Is he king? Oh my gosh, he's king. Oh my gosh, his life is falling apart. But not necessarily a consequence for Diana or like the other mates. But I don't know if they're gonna do that. But I'd be really interested to see Diana specifically, especially because she just popped up at the end of the episode. Like, if her trauma, like, will have a direct consequence to Aemond. Oh my gosh, Aegon. That would make me such a happy camper. I would love to see that. However, I think to be honest, I think she's going to play a role in a very different way. But I do think that possibility would be really interesting. Because right now, he's just cooked. Literally, physically, right? He has no one in his corner. Because his mom who left him. Yeah, it's just tragic. So yeah, I'm interested to hear you guys' thoughts. This is just a quick little ramble of kind of like my feelings about it. Conclusion, this is not a critique of the show, but it is a commentary on an interesting, possibly troubling narrative spin. And I want to make an open dialogue about that. Please be respectful. This is fictional characters. Fictional characters. But yeah, be kind and respectful. And I hope you have an amazing rest of your day. And if y'all like my quick little yaps, I would love to yap some more. Thank y'all. Have a good night. Or morning. Or afternoon. Or time period. Bye. Thanks.